Howdy, howdy. Come on in to the pre-show before the free show. Hello.
Hello. Oh, that microphone's in the way. Move that. Is it more in the way now?
Yeah, just put it right in front of your face.
Put it there.
Right in front of your face is perfect.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show before the free show. Normally on Mondays, what we do is we talk about what we did this weekend. You went to a football game.
I did. I went to Baylor, Texas State.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. It was quite toasty. My scalp is very burnt.
Normally during this segment, I'm very quiet because I don't have much to say. I just kind of kept my kids from killing themselves.
Yeah, that's good.
But this weekend, Tepper wife and I made a little trip.
I know, and I'm jealous.
Made a little trip, and you've been waiting for this.
I have
been waiting for this.
Because I asked you this morning. I wanted to text you this weekend, but I was like, no, they're still on their trip, so I'm not going to bother them.
No. We went to San Antonio. My wife and I went to San Antonio.
No.
And we went down there for a concert. Now, there were two concerts in San Antonio on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Two concerts in San Antonio on Saturday night. One of them was at the AT&T Center, featuring noted Canadian crooner Michael Buble. That's one concert. The other concert was at the Alamo Dome, featuring German metal band Rammstein.
So
now I'm going to give you one guess on which one we went to.
Well, I know which one you went to, but had I not known, I would have guessed the German.
That, I'm telling you, because we got down there and we were like walking around, just wandering around San Antonio. My wife hasn't been in a few years. We're just wandering around. Like we start noticing all these metalheads around. We're like, what? That's interesting.
It's interesting for a Michael Buble concert.
I don't know why they're going to, I imagine that, and I figured out pretty quickly that Rammstein was in town.
Amazing.
Anyway, we went to see Michael Buble at AT&T Center. So
go Spurs go.
So my wife this is like my wife's big bucket list concert. She's been wanting to do this for years. And we were going to go. He was in town in Dallas on Friday night, but Friday night's tough, as you can imagine.
A little busy around these parts.
Busy. So we went to San Antonio for the show. So I was skeptical about this show. Very skeptical about the show. I like his music. I think he's fine. I think he's supremely talented, obviously. He's very, very talented. His music's fine. I was concerned about this show because I haven't been to an arena concert in a long time, and I was thinking, boy, I do not think this music is conducive to an arena.
Okay.
I think it's conducive to as much. I think the room's too big.
Yeah.
I think that this is much smaller. It's lounge music. You know what I mean? It's like
it's
like nobody's jamming out to Michael Buble.
I'm jamming out to Michael Buble,
but here's the thing. It works.
Yeah, because they have a whole orchestra?
He has a 35-piece band.
Yeah, there you go.
35-piece band, big bandstand, and he's singing in front of them. That's part of it. The other reason it works, I am here to tell you that he might be the most charismatic man who's ever lived. He is funny, and he is like clever and whip smart, and just he has got he's got the audience in the palm of their hands. Now, this is a captive audience because there's a lot of people there who love Michael Buble.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, here's a fun little trivia question.
Okay.
Ashley Pickle, how old is Michael Buble? Because here's the answer. Older than you think.
Really? I would say in his 40s.
He's 47.
40. Okay, see, I would have said, I knew he was in his late 40s. If I was to look at him, I would say he's 38 to 42.
He's got a severe case of baby face. Severe case of baby face. 4 kids now. Wife's 12 years younger. We looked it up. Anyway.
But it was great?
Concert was excellent.
Okay.
I'm not super into his music, but my wife loved it. And look, his music's catchy. It's good.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
And he's obviously very talented. He is so charismatic. And my wife and I were talking about this. The only person she would compare him to as far as charisma is concerned is Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, very naturally charismatic. You look at him and you hear him talk and you just want to look at him more and hear him talk more, right? But here's the difference, and why I think this is even more impressive by Michael Buble.
Okay.
He can't dance. he's got the white boy moves of swinging his hips a little bit here and there, but he can't dance.
He has to impress you with his voice.
He has to impress you with his voice, and he has to be
Into
engaging, and he really is.
That's awesome.
So it was excellent. Two more notes on the Michael Buble show. It was excellent. It was very good. Highly recommend. One, there is an MVP of that show, and it's not Buble. Because there's a guy. He's up there, and he's wearing black suit, black shirt, black tie, right? And you and I have been on television.
Yeah.
The lights, they're hot.
Yep.
Lights are hot, and we are there. And that's why the studio, if you're ever wondering, at Bally and pretty much any TV studio, freezing cold. They always pump it full of air conditioning because because it's so hot in there because of the lights. So I can't even imagine how hot it is up there. He is sweating his butt off. But there's an MVP of the show, and it's a guy who, because it's like stage up here and then like long. I think this is the standard arena setup now. Long like runway where he can walk up and down. And there's like a mini stage down here that he did a couple songs on, right? Okay. So he's walking up and down stuff. And there's a guy who's tailing him all the way around, like down on the ground floor where like the walkway's up here. He's just tailing him. And anytime Buble goes like this, he tosses him like a black washcloth, basically.
Like a sweat rag.
Sweat rag. Wipes himself off, and, of course, tosses it into the crowd because everyone wants a little smell of Buble.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yuck. But he's doing that, toss it. That happened 30 times. Didn't miss once. Just bang, 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 bang,
okay,
bang.
so sweat rag guy.
Sweat rag guy.
That's awesome.
He has a sweat rag guy. That was impressive. The other thing about this, and this is my last point before we move on to football. Now, I haven't been to a concert in a while, and I certainly haven't been to an arena concert in a while. Have we, as a society, as a people, as a species, haven't we moved past the silliness of the encore?
No. It will forever be a thing.
We're all just playing along. Everyone just like, hey, thanks, everybody. I'm going to leave. Everyone keeps clapping. We all know what's going on because we know you have 3 more songs.
Yep. And they're always the 3 biggest songs. Yeah, no.
We know you have 3 more songs, but we all play along because here's the thing. Nobody wants to be first. Nobody wants to be first and be like, that's all the music I have for you tonight. Good night. There is no encore. Yep. But it was funny. I was sitting there because he leaves and like everyone's, of course, cheering and we all know he's coming back out. And I'm just like, we're all just like, we all know the game and all of us are willingly playing along with this silly thing. Yeah. Like we're all lying to ourselves.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Maybe it's like nostalgia kind of at that point, but it's not going to go away. No. So I just have learned to embrace it. Because like if you don't embrace it, then you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, come on, come back out."
No. It's just I just thought it was like I haven't been to a show in a while. It's just like amazing that we're all. It is a lie. We all acknowledge that it's a lie. We're all participating in the lie, and we're like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do it." It's just interesting. Anyway, demographic wise, it definitely skewed older. Like. I would say the median age was probably like 50.
Really?
But like a lot of people like your folks' age, my folks' age.
Yeah, see, I'm so jealous because
But we were not the youngest people there, and we were far from the only people our age.
Did they have were the violin players like awesome?
Oh my gosh!
I always loved seeing an orchestra.
He also spoke in Spanish a little bit because he's in San Antonio.
Me more.
He was excellent. I won't.
I'm very jealous.
I won't hide. But you should just text my wife, and she'll tell you all about it. She says the second best concert she's ever been to. First one was Elton John.
Oh, okay.
Elton John's first place, and that's gonna be hard to top.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But Buble, thumbs up.
Yeah, he's got to come back, just not on a Friday. Here.
It's gonna be tough. Anyway, there's your concert review. Hit the theme expo. Pickle. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show that is your nice, comforting, warm blanket.
It's really cold
on a Monday. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places, or listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local, mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. You're also the executive producer, I should say.
I do that as well. That's just the side gig.
That's the side gig.
Yeah.
Mostly duchessing.
What do I do on a normal day? I duchess.
Mm-hmm.
That's many people are saying.
Today's Monday, September 19th, 2022, 65 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to DeJounte Murray, 26 today.
Goes pretty cool. Well, sad. Darn
tough.
it.
Episode 1459. You all right?
No.
On today's show, folks, big show. Big show. We got Monday Morning Fallout. We're going to overreact to the football weekend. Then we're going to be joined by the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles. Coach Todd Winfrey will join us in his second year there. He has them off to a 4-0 start after a thrilling win over Amarillo Caprock. So we will talk with Coach Winfrey about that. Back half the show, we will unveil the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press state rankings, and we'll round it all out with a very exciting announcement. Mm-hmm. But you got to stay tuned to the end of the show for that. That's what we do. We make you stick around for the end for the big announcement. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Nick Morton, Rob Hadaway, Just Chad, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas. Also, the people are asking, where did you eat Saturday night? Because you put that on Twitter.
Yeah, so we were going to go to Paloma Blanca, which was the recommendation by Matt Wilson.
Oh, he loves
it.
He ate there like 3 times during coaching school, and we're only there for like 3 days.
And we went there, and the restaurant was rented out for an event.
Oh, no.
So we found like another, like at that point we were kind of in a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah.
We had to find a place and eat and stuff. So we went to a good Mexican food place that I don't remember the name of. That was like up in Alamo Heights, it was good. I wouldn't say it was, sadly, there were extenuating circumstances that kept us from having a really
right. Well, especially when you're looking forward to something like that, the disappointment brings down the
tough.
The review of the food.
We were walking up to the restaurant, Paloma Blanca, and then there were like people who were like really dressed up, and like we've never been there, so we're like, are we like underdressed? We were dressed okay, but like these people were like dressed up, and then we got there and we realized,
it's an event. Darn it.
Anyway. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. And what a weekend it was across the state of Texas. A lot to overreact to in the football world. We'll start with my 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, proving grounds. As the results poured in Texas high school football across the state of Texas, what I thought was most notable was that you had a lot of teams that we just didn't know about, right? It's not that we thought that they were bad, or we thought that they were overrated, or we thought that they were, not as good as their record indicated. Mm-hmm. But they were facing big tests, and arguably their first big test, and we wanted to see how they really measured up.
Gunner.
Perfect example. Gunner was a good example. Gunner took on Brock. Now, Brock's, we could spend hours talking about Brock because it's a weird situation. They're like Whitesboro's pretty good, but they're probably going to finish 6-4.
They're so good, and they make me look so dumb.
It's weird. Anyway, but Gunner had played 2 games, one against a private school and one against a charter school, Cedar Hill TLC. And just quite frankly, they're just a lot better than both those teams, and they treated them appropriately. But we found out, I think, a lot about Gunner on Friday night. I don't think they're perfect. I think there are things about them that are vulnerable. I thought their offense had a relatively off night, but their defense is legit. And I think they're the favorite in 3A Division 2. We learned a lot about that. We learned a lot about Anna. Anna welcomed in Salina in probably the biggest game in Anna football history. We had Mike Craven was there, and Mike Craven went to the game Anna in Salina. And he was like, I was talking with people. Let me see. He put something in the Slack.
He said that
he said something along. He talked to somebody. He talked to somebody who was like 70 years old, and he said, they were talking about this as the biggest game in Salina history.
Yeah, and I think that it was.
And there was, so they welcomed in Salina for the biggest game in Salina history, Anna history, and they beat them for the first time since the 70s, and they beat them with a second half comeback to get the win. So we know a lot about Anna now. That's a signature win for Seth Parr's ball club. Signature win. Here's one that maybe flew under the radar. New Caney. New Caney had a nice sparkling 3-0 record. Mm-hmm. But we're like, okay, let's see. They end up beating the Woodlands 14-7, kind of beating the Woodlands their own game.
Yeah.
They beat them like that. Very impressive from them. That's what we saw across the state in week 4. We saw teams with an opportunity to prove that they were for real, and many of them did it. Now, some of them maybe lost. I thought Wichita Falls Riders lost to Lubbock Cooper. A little bit dispiriting, but at the same time, that's a weird game. They played each other for the 9th time in 5 years. Less than 4 calendar years. 9th time. So, I don't know. At the same time, though, I do think, I'll give you another example. And not that they had played a lunch meet schedule, but Longview.
Yes.
Longview went on the road to Lufkin and drilled Lufkin.
Like, really
that doesn't happen.
It's like 54-6 or something.
That doesn't happen. They don't drill Longview.
And that was just after Lufkin had gotten a very, very good win the week before.
Over Consolidated. You're absolutely right. So, overall, that was kind of what I took, was there were teams, programs with an opportunity to get big wins, and they did it. And especially, like, Anna was the one that really stood out.
Yes.
Because, like, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyeballs. That's a program that has not been good for a long, long, long time. And here they are welcoming in a rival, welcoming in a team that, is state-ranked. And
that crowd was awesome.
And they showed up. They showed up, as they should, for the biggest game in program history. That's thought number 1. Thought number 2, a harsh reality in the G5. Oof. So we're going to put aside the Power 5 teams in the state of Texas for now. Baylor got a win over Texas State. A&M had a nice bounce-back win over Miami, although their offense. Mm-hmm.
It is not good.
Texas beat UTSA, and then Tech went on the road, and they lost. To North Carolina State. I have some questions about some time management issues there for McGuire and company, but we're going to put them aside for a moment. Put the Power 5 aside for a moment. TCU didn't play, right?
No.
TCU was off.
Yeah, because they've got the skillet this week.
Yeah. For the past few years, we've really been reliant on the G5 to spark joy for us. Mm-hmm. We've really been leaning on them because A&M has been up and down. They had a great 2020, but like 2021 was a bit disappointing. Texas, of course, the are they back or not, saga has been, going forward. Tech has been down with Matt Wells. The last few years with Gary Patterson have been disappointing. Baylor's been the real lone bright spot there. Mm-hmm. But even before last year, they were a little bit disappointing, right? So we've been leaning on the G5 a lot. That's why we were so excited about UTSA last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why we were really excited about what Houston did last year. I'm very high on them this year.
And SMU.
UTEP last year, right? North Texas surging to a bowl game, right? I think it's time to recognize that this year, this ain't it.
Oh, it's rough. It's real rough.
This ain't it. Houston losing to Kansas at home is bad.
Very bad.
Now, Kansas is better, but there's big issues there.
That's not what you want to be doing before you're fixing to make your move to the Big 12.
SMU had an opportunity to really get a great win on the road at Maryland. They really let it slip. UTEP,
they are really bad.
Down
really bad.
They're down bad. Texas State kind of got no contested by Baylor. They hung in there in the first half.
They had a really good first half. They looked good in the first half, and then it all crumbled.
Right. UTSA, I give them a little bit of a pass going to Texas. Whatever, there's that.
Again, they were an exciting first
relatively,
half.
Yeah, they were good first half. They pulled it late. I think the only team out of the G5 that comes out feeling pretty good.
Hoot.
Intensify that hooting, baby. Rice snaps I think it's a 13 game. 15
I think it was 15.
15-game winning streak for Louisiana. And kind of surprisingly, stunningly. So yeah, that's really the only
Rice, the team of Houston.
That's exactly right. Hey.
Well, and Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. We'll get to them in a moment. Who has 2 wins in the city of Houston? It ain't UH.
The Rice Owls.
Hoot. Anyway, that's the harsh reality of the G5 this year. And thought number 3, a clean slate. So I don't know if you saw, but what happened in the Abilene Cooper and Lubbock Coronado game. So Abilene Cooper wins the game on essentially like a tip drill run and catch like 64 yards in the final minute to beat Lubbock Coronado 33-28. And there was, I was reading up about it and stuff like that, and in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, I believe this was, let me make you Stephen Garcia. Stephen Garcia got a quote from DJ Mann, friend of ours. DJ Mann, here's the quote. "We're one play away, man. It seems like for the last 3 weeks, we're one play away. But it's a new season." That stuck with me because, like, this past week, of course, we had a lot of open dates for big schools, 6A and 5A. And this week, it starts for real. Like, all this like conjecture, all of us arguing who's better than who, all of this arguing about what, like, all these non-district games, it's important to remember they're fun for us and they're good data points as we try to analyze what Texas high school football is going to look like for the next, 15 weeks. But in the end, they don't mean anything. You can be 0-4, you can be 4-0. Doesn't matter. Because if you lose the wrong games, the rest of the way, you're toast.
That's like
it ain't nobody going to remember you started 4-0.
I was just going to say, we talked to San Antonio Davenport's head coach on Football Friday.
J.D. Zimmerhansel.
Yes, the man, the dancing man. And you asked him, you're like obviously the district is starting. Here's what really counts. He's like, oh, yeah, it's great being 3-0. Like, this has been fun, but we don't really care about this, Right.
It was, so whether you're 4-0, 0-4, somewhere in between, just know that really for a lot of teams, especially the big school ranks, it starts anew. 3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker for Paradise quarterback Austin Iglesias. He goes 9 of 11, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 8 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Steph came away really impressed by Paradise on Thursday. Baylor running back Richard Reese, the freshman out of Belleville, 19 carries, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the Bears.
We got to see Kyron Jones come in, too.
Oh, good.
In the fourth quarter.
Shadow Creek Zone.
Yeah. He needs to put on more muscle, but he's tall.
He was always smallish. Yeah.
He looked good, but he's very skinny.
And Manor running back Quentin Joyner, 26 carries, 208 yards, and 4 touchdowns for those mighty Manor Mustangs. 3 helmet stickers. 3 teams to watch. Katy Cinco Ranch. Do you see this?
Do you see this? You hear about this, Kev?
They not just beat Katy Tompkins, they drilled Katy Tompkins 42-14. That has me like having a lot of questions about Cinco, about Tompkins, about 19-6A.
Yeah, because that puts them as the second favorite in that district behind Katy.
Yeah, about Region 3. Like, I have a lot of questions. Keep an eye on Cinco Ranch. Big win for them. 42-14. They drilled them.
Yeah.
Texas Southern got a big win this past week, and I believe, I want to say it was one of their, Andrew Body was of course fantastic, but it's their first 2-game winning streak against they got their first 2-game winning streak since 2009-2011, win streak against Southern, I should say. They beat Southern 24-0, and it is, of course, Texas Southern was playing Southern, which is Eric Dooley's old school, and the coach there. This was a team that, like the shutout, the last time the Jaguars were shut out was in 2017, and the last time a SWAC school shut them out was 2012.
Wow.
Very impressive for Texas Southern. Not known for their defense, but great win for them. And finally, Toller. Let me draw your attention to what the Rattlers are doing, because the Rattlers are messing around and doing some big things. They're 4-0 now. They're entering their open date. Finished their non-district play unbeaten. Fantastic win last week over Comanche, 45-14. Really beat them badly. And remember, that's a 2A beating a 3A, and a good 3A, a previously unbeaten 3A. It's a great win for Toller. Keep an eye on them. Those are 3 teams to watch. 3 to see coming up this week. It's Battle of the Lakes week. It's Lake Travis and Austin Westlake going on this week.
Are they're at Westlake again? Because they were there last year.
That's what I've got it on my schedule.
All right.
That's how I'm make sure of that.
Yeah, because I covered that game last year. It was week 11.
Yeah, this is Lake Travis at Austin Westlake.
All right, back to back. I don't know how they did that.
Who knows? Who knows how these things work?
A
lot to glean from this. What's the quarterback situation like at Lake Travis? How much has that defense improved, etc. First Battle of the Lakes for Tony Salazar and company. It's also Skillet Week.
Yeah.
TCU and SMU.
I think Craven and
Mallory
will be there.
I'll say this. SMU gets a lot of flack for not filling up Ford Stadium. If they don't fill it up this week, I got no sympathy.
You can't be too busy boulevarding to go into the stadium.
This is like the man who scorned you, quote unquote. I'm putting air quotes on that. Is coming back to town. That better be full.
Yes.
Big energy this week. And one of 12 battles of unbeatens this week.
This is hipster, and I love it.
How about Brownfield and Littlefield?
I love this. Do they call it the Battle of the Fields?
I don't know.
Because they should.
Brownfield and Littlefield going on. I'll give you a quick sneak peek at our computer projections this week. Computers got it at pick 'em. Brownfield off to a fantastic start. Their offense has been humming. Keep an eye on that one. Brownfield at Littlefield. That's 3 to see. That's Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com, TexasFootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Oh, pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Ozarka to honor the finest Texas high school football teams in the state with the Ozarka Fueled by Nature Team of the Week Award. Each week, the Texas football staff recognizes one school in each classification with this award. We are so pleased to be partnered with Ozarka once again this year to honor excellence in Texas high school football. These teams have exemplified the best in Texas high school football. Let's get to this week's winners. In 6A, Katy Cinco Ranch. Gavin Rutherford, 3 for 3 touchdowns, and the Cougars defense stymied rival Katy Tompkins en route to a 42-14 upset win, snapping a 3-year losing streak to the Falcons. In 5A, Houston Wisdom. The long wait is over for the Generals as Hani Ali ran for 158 yards, and DeParian Tate scored 3 touchdowns to power past Houston Austin 31-7, snapping a 35-game losing streak. Well done, Houston Wisdom. Speaking of history, in 4A, Canyon West Plains, the Wolves used 3 turnovers and a steady dose of running back Jordy Hernandez to topple Amarillo Paladuro 28-26, earning their first win in program history. In 3A, Gunner. In a showdown of North Texas small school powers, the Gunner defense flexed its muscles as the Tigers went on the road and took down Division I power Brock 21-16. In 2A, Three Rivers. The Bulldogs are up to a 4-0 start for the first time since 2014 after surging past previously unbeaten Banquetti 26-14. In 1A, Chester, the Yellow Jackets upset Calvert 58-22 on Friday night, getting their first ever victory over the Trojans in their 5th meeting. And finally, in the private school ranks, Argyle Liberty Christian. The Warriors' offense took flight on Friday night as quarterback Jacob Vaughn paced a 480-yard attack and a 50-13 win over Grapevine Faith Christian. So those are your Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. Congratulations to all the schools. We salute you. For more information, visit TexasFootball.com. And now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Every high school athlete wants to play on the big stage, and every parent wants their child to be the best. But is making your target list of schools based on top 25 rankings really the best strategy? What about academics, Location, coaching style, financial aid. There's so many factors that should be considered when selecting a college program outside of on-field performance. Our friends at Athletes to Athletes have put together a recruiting guide centered around providing a broader, more holistic perspective about what your college experience could be. It's got checklists, do's and don'ts, key strategies, much more. It's a 22-page guide that covers everything you and your family should know as you walk through your college recruiting journey. And now, for a limited time only, Athletes to Athletes is offering this guide for free to our audience. Go to athletes.com/Dave Campbell today. Download the free college recruiting guide. That's athletes.com, athletes.athletes.com/Dave Campbell. Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's welcome in the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles up there in Randall County. We're pleased to be joined by Coach Todd Winfrey. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you guys today?
I'm excellent. How are things in beautiful Canyon, Texas?
Oh, man, it's God's country up here, man. We're just living the dream.
Well, and you guys have plenty to be excited about after a thrilling win over Amarillo Caprock last week. That was a matchup of unbeatens there up there in the Panhandle, and you guys took care of business. I have to imagine that going into that game to come out with such a narrow win and such a nip and tuck affair has you pretty excited about what not only this means for this particular game, but also moving forward.
Absolutely. First of all, we knew Caprock was an incredible team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're huge, they're fast, they're well coached. Coach Sherwood's as good a coach as there is in the country. And so we knew we were going to have our hands full anyway. And then, that game didn't exactly go the way we thought it was going to. We were down 32-14 with 7.5 minutes to go and found a way to come back and win. And so obviously those are the kind of things that you can come in the film room and meet with your kids and just explain to them, guys, this is something we can build on. This can be a defining moment, for our program and our season. And of course, it's nice to get the win, but, it's just part of the process when you're in non-district football, trying to keep improving and keep getting better and getting ready for that first district game on October 14th.
Well, and speaking of which, what's so remarkable about that comeback to me is it's not you guys have a few really important seniors. I don't want to downplay them, but looking at your squad, you guys seem real young. You guys played something like 16 sophomores last year, stuff like that. So does that make the comeback win even more satisfying and gratifying for you, knowing that you're doing it with guys who are kind of still getting their feet underneath them?
It does. We talked in the interview after the game. We only had 3 returning starters on offense and defense this year. And, you say it's not necessarily, not to focus on the seniors, but it's a huge credit to those seniors for loving on and helping grow and helping mature and bring into the pack those young kids and empower them and make them feel part of the team. And to do something special like that on a Friday night, it takes a lot of mental fortitude. And for some young kids to be an integral part of that was pretty special. It really was.
Talking with Todd Winfrey, the head coach of the Canyon Eagles here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. All right, Coach, one of those seniors, the aforementioned seniors, is Derek Clements, your quarterback. And you guys ask him to do a lot. Looking at the stats, I believe he's involved in 56% of the plays, either throwing or running the ball. You coached him last year there in your first year there. You've been on the staff there. You've seen him kind of come through the program. How have you seen your quarterback grow over the course of his career?
Whatever spectrum or chart you could come up with, it's bigger than that. The way he's grown, it's been incredible, and it's what we challenged him to do coming into this. He's always been a talent. He's beautiful. He's 6'4", about 215. He's a prototype. But in his sophomore year, which he came in, that was our semifinal run and bailed us out in that quarterfinal game. But last year he did amazing things, but mentally just wasn't quite over the hump. And so, what we challenged him to do this year was really to be that guy. And what I mean by that is when something negative happens, is to be able to let it go. Quarterbacks have to be on an even keel. And I've been so proud of him. When something good happens, he's an even keel. When something bad happens, he responds the same way. And he's kind of just kept this steady Eddie approach to himself. He's letting us coach him. Coach Rabb, our quarterback coach, does a great job. And of course, I've done quarterbacks my whole career. And so I kind of jump in there too. And he lets us coach him, and he lets us coach him hard. And this, every great program, the way you coach your quarterback is the way you coach your team. And sometimes you got to jump your quarterback's butt to make a point to the rest of the team. And he's embracing that. And because of that, he's starting to flourish. And I think that's all because of his mindset coming into this season to actually, approach being the senior leader we needed him to be.
Another guy on the other side of the ball, your defense has certainly done its part as well, and it's hard not to notice what Javin Cash has meant to your program. You mentioned one of the
no doubt
one of the very few seniors on that defense, and a guy who's leading the team in tackles, a guy who's you see all the highlights, and it seems like he's in on every tackle. The numbers are impressive, the film is impressive. You're the guy who sees him every day in the practice. What is it about your senior linebacker Javin Cash that sets him apart?
Jay Cash he's the guy that shows up every day. There's not a day off for that dude, and it's not more important, or it's more important to him than anybody. And we made it real clear early on, and we haven't hid this, that as Javin goes, so goes our defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the bell cow for us, and we've got some other cats on that defense like a Hunter Anderson that does a great job on the back end, but Javin's the heartbeat of that thing, and as long as he shows up and keeps doing what he does every day, I think our defense has a fighting dog's chance. I really do. He's a special, special kid. He's a special player. Comes from a great family.
You are in your second year in there in the big chair. Of course, you've been there, for years and years and years. You're no stranger to the program. You were a longtime assistant under Coach Blake Bryant for the legend up there in Canyon. I'm interested now. You're a season and a quarter into what's hopefully going to be a long run there at Canyon. What do you know about this job now that maybe you didn't know when you took over?
I get asked that a lot. Replacing a legend like Blake Bryant, you can't replace him. You're just the next guy up. There's no replacing somebody that's that incredible. But you didn't know how much of the job that didn't have to do with football. There's things you deal with on a daily basis, and you're not really worried about football or getting practice ready. The football part of it, Coach Bryant entitled me and put me in a position to let me do a lot of things that head coaches do, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I appreciate that from him. But it was the other stuff, the sitting here at the desk from 8 a.m. until about 2:15. That you learn on a daily basis, and some of it you're like, man, I never in my life dreamed I'd be doing this today. But at the end of the day, it's just such a blessing to get to do this job. There's no place you'd rather do it, and I've got I know you got a pretty dang good job, brother, but I got a pretty dang good job too.
We can just agree. We both got pretty good jobs.
Yes, sir.
We're allowed to each have good jobs. Todd Winfrey, the head coach of Canyon, joining us here on Texas Football Today. Coach, I'm interested. You guys, District 3, 4A, Division 1, a lot of teams across the state starting district play this week. You guys got another month. You guys aren't going to start up until week 8 because of a 5-team district. How does that change the way you approach things, knowing that you're going to have 6 non-district games before things really get real? How do you approach that?
Well, first of all, we're starting a week earlier than we have been the last 4 years, because it used to be a 4-team district. Yeah. So we're kind of glad it's a 5-team now. But, I think it is a little different. I think you've got to come into that knowing we've got, 3 weeks of fall camp and then 6 non-district games and then an open week. And so, that's a 10-week period. Mm-hmm. And so, number one, you've got to have a plan or a vision to just steadily increase, from day one until that first district game. I think you've got more time than some people have. So you've got the ability to make changes and tweak things and look at things and look at a couple things you might want to try offensively or defensively. Everybody knows what the base things we're going to do are, but you can tinker just a little bit and maybe see what exactly a kid can do in this role or that role. And it gives you a little more time. Now, I think you got to do a good job focusing, because six weeks of games where those kids know that these are just non-district games, and every game's important to us, but there's a major difference in a non-district and a district game. So keeping them energetic and focused and on task is a big part of that deal, making it fun and keeping practice fresh for those guys. And, we've still got two more games and then an open week before we start on October 14th. So it's different. It's interesting to watch people start their district now. And sometimes you take a breath and go, okay, good. We've still got a couple more games to really tweak all the little, things that we want to work on.
And that includes coming up this week, taking on a good Midland Greenwood squad. You guys got to travel up there to Purser Field, up there at J.M. King Memorial Stadium. I don't want to ask you to give away all your secrets. I know you're deep into film, but when you take a look at what you're up against with the Rangers coming up this week, what do you see?
Well, first of all, I see a coach in Coach Purser that's, from a legendary family, an incredible coach. Their staff does a good job. Midland Greenwood's notorious for just playing freaking hard football. You know, they play fast, they play physical. You know, we got to go scout them Friday night because our game was on Thursday, and watched them play shallow water and beat an incredible shallow water team. Mm-hmm. You know, they just execute. They didn't make mistakes. They just play good football. And Coach Purser's son can kick it a country mile. He hit a 61-yarder in that game. And so, you know, if you let those guys across the 50-yard line, they're going to get 3 points out of it. So we've got to stop the run. You know, they do a great job running the football. They, you know, coach or their quarterback is the Flowers kid, and does a heck of a good job. And they're just a good team. Their defensive line's really physical, so we're going to have to really do a good job up front and kind of do what we did Thursday night. And we made some mistakes, but we took care of the football. We didn't turn it over. We played field position when we needed to, and I think that's what we have to do. And hopefully we can make that trip down to Midland and come out okay.
He's Todd Winfrey. He's the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles. Coach, appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the fantastic win on Thursday and the fantastic start to the season, and best of luck this week.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do for us in high school sports and high school football. You guys are we call it the purple standard up here, but you're the gold standard of what radio shows and publications are. So appreciate you, Tep.
Appreciate you, Coach. There he goes.
Thanks, buddy. See you, man. Play for the C.
Todd Winfrey, always branding, head coach of the Canyon Eagles, joined us here at Texas Football today. Exciting times up there in Canyon. You know, this is a team. You know, it's interesting. He mentioned kind of following a legend who was there under Blake Bryant. You know, forever for 20 years, and then he gets the big chair, and it's hard to follow a legend. Last year 8-3, you know, a solid year I would say. This year something special cooking. That's a really nice win over Caprock. Mm-hmm. Especially if they get Greenwood and Andrews to round out non-district play, then they get into district play, and look, the district's tough. You know, you're gonna have to deal with Dumas. You're gonna have to deal with a Canyon Randall team that's playing really well. I think Pampa is better than 2-2. So they're gonna get tested early and often. But this is a team that right now is playing really good ball, and you should be paying attention to the Canyon Eagles and their coach Todd Winfrey. We appreciate his time. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hey, Ashley.
What?
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl. Recognize the most outstanding high school football players in the state each week with the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award. Each week, Dave Campbell's Texas football staff nominates 10 deserving candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. We even leave it up to you to vote at TexasFootball.com. Don't blame me. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced on TexasFootball.com shortly thereafter. Crazy week of stats. Let's get to our 10 nominees, starting with Silsbee wide receiver Draylon Miller. 110 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving, 80 yards, a touchdown rushing, and an 80-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Light work. Mineola running back and linebacker Dawson Pendergrass, we're just going to keep nominating him until he wins. I swear it's like the third time in 4 weeks he's been nominated. 311 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing, 66 yards, touchdown receiving, 50 yards and a touchdown passing, 5 tackles, an interception return for a touchdown, and he ran for 3 2-point conversions. So 3 touchdowns rushing, a touchdown receiving, a touchdown passing, an interception return for a touchdown. Bingo.
Goodness.
Dumas athlete Emmanuel Ibanez had 185 yards and 4 touchdowns passing, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. He returned an interception for a touchdown, and he averaged 43 yards per punt.
Pretty darn good.
ARP quarterback Frank Smith, 186 yards and let me see, 186 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 86 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. He ran for 4 2-point conversions, and he also threw for a 2-point conversion. Okay.
That's 5.
Mount Vernon running back Mackenzie McGill, 325 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing, and he also threw for a touchdown.
Which is huge because their quarterback is out.
Their quarterback is hurt. That's right.
It's
big for Mackenzie McGill.
Yeah.
New Braunfels Canyon wide receiver Xavion Noland, 12 catches, 274 yards, and 4 touchdowns receiving. Can't be stopped. Neither could Ingleside wide receiver Jaden Smith, 5 catches, 192 yards, 4 touchdowns receiving. That means he was tackled once. El Paso Franklin wide receiver and defensive back Bo Sparks had 16 catches for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving. He also caught a 2-point conversion. He also returned a punt 77 yards for a touchdown, and he had 12 tackles.
That's a fantastic football name.
Bo Sparks. DeSoto quarterback DJ Bailey, 359 yards and 6 touchdowns passing for the DeSoto Eagles. And finally, San Antonio Davenport running back Shaston Golden, 372 yards and 7 touchdowns rushing for Shaston Golden of the unbeaten San Antonio Davenport Wolves. So there you go, your 10 nominees for the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week for Week 4. Vote early, vote often, vote now at texasfootball.com. We had highlights of Shaston Golden on Football Friday.
It was insane.
It was, like,
it was another one. Another one.
Like, here he goes again.
Like Tepper didn't even have to like really look at his shot sheet because he just knew every touchdown
it's going to be
Shaston
Golden.
Golden.
Here he comes. All right. Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is the official rankings provider of the Associated Press. We've put out the most respected Texas high school football rankings for years, and we've been partnered with the Associated Press since 2019. We're very proud of that. We're proud to be the official Texas high school football rankings of record across the Lone Star State. We've now entered Week 5. These are your Week 5 DCTF Associated Press rankings, starting with Class 6A in the top 10, which is entirely unchanged, 1 through 10, either idle, like Westlake, North Shore, and Atascocita, or winners. They all won, and so it goes Westlake, North Shore, Carroll, Southlake, Carroll, Duncanville, Katy, Denton, Geyer, Humble, Atascocita, Cibolo, Steele, Allen, and Highland Park rounding out the top 10. To the back half of the top 25, everything, a little bit of movement here. Number 12, Katy Tompkins drops out. That kind of nudges everyone up a spot. For example, DeSoto's up to number 12, San Antonio Brennan up to number 13, et cetera, et cetera. Number 8, one of the big jumps was number 18, or rather Dripping Springs jumped up to number 18. Prosper's loss to Denton Geyer drops from just 1 spot to number 18. We were impressed with the way that they hung in there. They get to hang around in number 18, but they drop 1 spot, which bumps Austin Vandergrift up 2 spots to there. The Woodlands at number 25 drops out, making way for 2 new programs into the top 25. Number 24, Klein Collins, who nudges in despite not playing. Pays to be number 26 and have people lose in front of you. And then finally, Byron Nelson. The Bobcats, Byron Nelson, are ranked in the top 25 at number 25 with a win over Keller Fossil Ridge. To 5A we go. 5A Division 1, where a lot of chalk with the exception of a couple of switches. Most notably, Denton Ryan nudges past Port Arthur Memorial with their win over Saginaw. Port Arthur Memorial struggled to beat New Caney Porter 18-17. We thought that Denton Ryan's performance so far is a little bit better than Port Arthur Memorial, so they nudge up to number 3 as Port Arthur Memorial drops number 4. Everything else unchanged. Longview, a emphatic number 1 with their win over Lufkin. Mansfield Timberview hanging on to that number 2 spot. 5A Division 2, a little bit more movement. Lubbock Cooper defeats Wichita Falls Rider, which drops Rider from number 2 to number 5 in the rankings. Liberty Hill, Fort Bend Marshall, and Texas High move up as a result. The back half of the top 10, unchanged. Colleyville Heritage, Midlothian Heritage, Grapevine, Montgomery, Lake Creek, and Port Neches Groves. Argyle remains number 1 in 5A Division 2. You all right?
Yeah, sorry. Allergies.
4A Division 1, a little bit of chaos here. A little bit of chaos. Salina's loss to Anna drops them to number 6. Anna nudges up to number 5 with their win into the top 5 of the rankings. The top 5 are Stephenville, China Spring, Corpus Christi, Cal Allen with their big win over Cuero. Very impressive. Bernie and Anna round out the top 5. Lumberton up a spot to number 7. Dumas up 2 spots to number 10, or number 8 rather. 2 teams drop out. Number 7, Little Cypress, Mauriceville, and number 9, Beeville Jones in their place. Number 9, Somerset, who beat Beeville Jones as a result. Battle of Unbeatens, they get in. And into the top 10, Brownwood Lions with their win over Glen Rose. They move into the number 10 spot of the rankings. To 4A Division 2 we go. 4A Division 2 had a similar kind of amount of a little bit of chaos here. Cuero's lost to Cal Allen. We didn't really know what to do with. We ended up dropping them from number 4 to number 5 behind Pleasant Grove. Essentially, we think they're the second best one-loss team in the state. We're going to hold on to that. Top 3 unchanged: Carthage, Gilmer, and Wichita Falls, right? Or Wichita Falls Hershey, I should say. Silsbee up a spot with their win over Brazosport. Belleville up a spot with a very impressive win over Cameron Yo. Number 7, Glen Rose with their loss to the aforementioned Brownwood drop out of the top 10, as does number 10 Waco Connolly with their loss to, I believe it was China Spring. Is that right? Yeah, yes. China Spring. As a result, 2 new teams into the rankings. Number 9, Hampshire Finette. Longhorns are ranked at number 9 with the win over Splendora. And number 10, the Mustangs of Madisonville are number 10 in 4A Division 2. To 3A we go. 3A was chalky except for one resort, and that was Shallow Water's loss. Shallow Water has lost to Midland Greenwood, drops him out of the top 10. As a result, Bushland up a spot, Breckenridge up a spot to number 8, Hallettsville up a spot to number 9. Into the rankings, number 10, Winsboro, big winners over New Boston, improving to 4-0. Top 5 unchanged: Franklin, Mount Vernon, Lorena, Columbus, and Grandview. Malakoff still 6, I should say. To 3A Division 2. 3A Division 2, a little bit of changes here. Number 5, Rogers, and number 10, Dangerfield lose, and they are out of the rankings. As a result, Bell is up 2 spots to number 4. Canadian back into the top 5 with a win over Perryton. West Rusk loses to Tatum, 49-39. We dropped them from 4 to 6. Tatum's a decent team. They're better than their record indicates, and they played them tough. We decided to give them a little bit of grace. Henrietta up a spot to number 7. Poth up a spot to number 8. And new into the rankings, number 9, Palmer. Bulldogs of Palmer are 4-0 and ranked at number 9. And Lexington, the Eagles of Lexington, are number 10 after their win over Thrall. To 2A we go. 2A Division 1, just a little bit of shuffling a little bit, okay? So Centerville drops 1 spot with their 1-point loss to Mart. We think they're still a top 10 team. We're going to keep them at number 10. Coleman drops a spot with their loss to Llano. They're punching up an entire division, and so we don't want to punish them too hard. We're going to drop them 1 spot. As a result, though, your top 5 now are Timpson, Hawley, Crawford, Shiner, and Refugio. Stratford stays the same at number 7. Cisco, same number 8. Toller up a spot to number 9. 2A Division 2 now. Munster loses again this week. They're now 1-3 on the year. They dropped them out of the rankings. We have a new number 1 as Hawley beats Albany, dropping them, giving them their first loss of the year. The new number 1, the Mart Panthers, a familiar number 1. They're up to number 1. Burton, despite being idle, moves up to number 2. We drop Albany to number 3. Wellington and Wink stay at 4 and 5 respectively. Chilton up a spot to number 6. Price Carlisle up a spot to number 7. Santo up a spot to number 8. Or up 2 spots. No, 1 spot. Bremond up a spot to number 9. And new to the rankings, number 10, Granger. Their win over Goldthwaite gets them into the rankings at number 10. To the 6-man ranks we go, where there's a little bit of chaos in 1A Division 1. Top 3 unchanged: Westbrook, Abbott, May. May got a really nice win over Garden City. Garden City drops from number 4 to number 9 as a result. Jonesboro, we kind of reshuffled the middle of this because of the way that these teams played. Jonesboro, very impressive. They vault from number 7 and number 4. Rankin moves up 1 spot to number 6. Or number 5, rather. Happy moves up 2 spots to number 6. Erie County moves up 2 spots to number 7. Borden County and Ira both lose. They drop out of the rankings. As a result, we have 2 new teams. At number 8, the 4-0 Gordon Longhorns with a big win over Waco Live Oak. They're number 8. And number 10, the Bobcats of Medina are ranked with a win over Bulverde, Bracken Christian. 1A Division 2, mostly chalky with the exception of one or 2 small things. And that is Cherokee's win over Bluffdale impressed us. That vaults them ahead of 1-loss Balmorhea up to number 3. We also decided that Lorraine's big win over Ira was impressive enough to vault them over Oakwood up into the number 5 spot. So your top 5 now are Benjamin, Richland Springs, Cherokee, Balmorhea, and Lorraine in the top 5. Bluffdale, number 10, we hardly knew ye, drops out of the rankings, into the rankings for the first time. The Dragons of Paducah, number 10. The Dragons at 4-0 with a win over Miami, 92-60. Into the private school ranks we go. So Parish Episcopal, the number 1 team in the private school ranks, loses to South Oak Cliff by a field goal. We still think they're the best private schools team in the state. For now, we're going to hold them on at number 1. As a result, the top 5 are unchanged. Parish Episcopal, Dallas Christian, Austin Regents, Houston St. Thomas, and Episcopal School of Dallas. Over in the 6-man ranks, it was entirely chalky. Pasadena First Baptist did play, but everyone else won. As a result, your top 5 remains Conroe Covenant, Pasadena First Baptist, Plano Coram Deo, Fort Worth Covenant Classical, and Lantana Harvest Christian. So there you are, your Week 5 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings. For more information, go to texasfootball.com/rankings. Okay, normally this is when we do final thoughts, but we do have one very special announcement to do in final thoughts, and then you can do your final thoughts. Okay.
Okay. This is my final thoughts.
Okay. If you don't want to do it, then no.
Huh?
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and introduce it. Here with the big announcement is Ashley Pickle.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, I can't announce it. But yeah, big announcement, and that is, can I get a drum roll? And boom! We're bringing back Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Dave Campbell's Texan Live Watch Along. Live Texas high school football this Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
Oh, it says November 22nd. I got to fix that.
That
September 22nd.
September 22nd. We will be watching Tomball Memorial and Klein Kane, which will be broadcasted on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. And we'll get through the three not as important people. That would be myself, Mallory Hartley, and Ishmael Johnson. But the two headliners here, and the reason that you should come watch with us, is Mount Pleasant head coach Joe Cluley will be coming in. And our guy, Mike Roach from 24/7 Sports, to watch and give you actual hashtag analysis.
Yes.
So we're excited.
It's going to be fun. Tomball Memorial and Klein Kane is this Thursday, not in 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to fix that graphic. Thursday, September 22nd, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places that you normally see our show. You can see it again. You can watch live Texas high school football. Klein Kane, the number 21 team in 6A, welcoming in Tomball Memorial in a critical district matchup. Should be fun. We're excited to get some eyes on these two teams and, of course, pick the brain of Mount Pleasant coach Joe Cluley, who's going to drive in for this.
Yeah.
Very excited. Mount Pleasant is not close.
No. Step brought Canadian Kit Kats for Mrs. Cluley because she is with child.
She's with child,
she wants some Kit Kats. So that's like the most important thing that I'll do that night is make sure to give Coach Cluley the Kit Kats.
So we're bringing back the watch along. We've got some more on the docket kind of coming up here, but this is going to be our first one of the year coming up this Thursday. Make sure you are by the channel.
And I guess if you're new and you don't know what the watch alongs are, basically we all cram in our studio and we turn the game on, but we do a Dave Campbell's Texan Live game, so that way we have the rights to show you the broadcast. So you don't need to have the broadcast up and the watch along up.
Mm-hmm.
You can, we would love for you to do that too if you would like a bigger screen of it, but we will be showing the game on the actual screen with us.
Yeah, exactly. So you can hang out, and then if you want, you can get, I believe it's going to be our friend Chase, what's his last name?
Snyder.
Chase Snyder. Chase Snyder's going to be on the call, so if you want to go to TexanLive.com, you can get the regular play-by-play if you don't want the
because another reminder too, because we always get yelled at like the first couple times we do this, we are not providing play-by-play. We're providing fun color-esque stuff. Like you're not gonna get a 1st and 4,
No, you're not. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, there you have it. Coming up this Thursday, the first watch along of the year. It's gonna be Klein Kane and Tomball Memorial. Step is in our comments telling us that we changed the game on Cluley, that he's been studying up because there was another game we were going to do, but long story short, we couldn't come to an agreement on the streaming rights for that game. So as a result, I got to call Coach Cluley and tell him, hey, all that work you did, pay attention. Like, guess what? You have to look up another team. Anyway, we'll get him up to speed. He'll be excited. He just come in and talk. He'll be a good guy. Anyway, we're excited about that. So it's coming up this Thursday.
Excited.
It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Todd Winfrey, the head coach of the 4-0 Canyon Eagles, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow for more fun on Texas Football Today.